Hacksaw Jim Duggan crawls out of that ring and goes after Buzz Sawyer, the Mad Dog, and this is what has been happening in this match up to this point, that they have both been after each other with this insatiable desire to knock each other's block off, and they have dealt out some tremendous punishment, as Hacksaw Jim Duggan is doing right now. There he is in his typical stance, and Sawyer is asking for something he knows he can't get, and that is a timeout. As he leaps in there into the arms of Duggan, Duggan is prepared and ready. And in one of those corners that you see in the picture right now, at the Coliseum on Friday night, in this very ring, there will be a pole that will extend 10 feet up in the air, and it will be hooked onto that ring post, and on top of the pole will be a coal miner's glove. And this battle will continue in the final event at the Sam Houston Coliseum this coming Friday night. And whoever can get the glove on top of that pole can use it. And of course, this is going to add to the tremendous action and the tremendous wild stuff that has been going on between this pair of rivals who have no knowledge of what it is to slow down or come to even a pause in a match. And you can see Sawyer as he goes after the back, which he has already injured previously, and Duggan is in trouble. On Friday night at the Coliseum, there will be 9 matches. There will be 20 wrestlers in action. There will be 2 titles at stake, and this will be the final wrestling card of the before Christmas. I'll get that out right. And there is the man who has turned Houston wrestling into a wild and unpredictable savagery as he goes after Duggan here. He's a man who doesn't seem to know what it's like to be hurt. No matter what punishment comes his way, he survives and gets after his opponent to deliver it. He is a tough customer, but then nobody ever accused Hacksaw Duggan of being anything else except a tough customer. And they call each other tough guy, and they do it with a tremendous spitting out as though it was an expletive. And they are probably right. They know that each man is tough. There is, of course, a grudging respect, but there is also a dislike because each of them wants to be known as the toughest guy in a tough sport. So we've got Hacksaw Jim Duggan, a victim of the reverse atomic drop, and Sawyer here catching the attention of the referee. But as he gets in there, he does what a dog would do. You see him there. You see the teeth marks in the flesh of Hacksaw Duggan. But the fans who have come to the Coliseum on this night, and they were a tremendous crowd, and the fans who come to the Coliseum on this coming Friday night expect to see from Duggan and from Sawyer the kind of action that they're witnessing right now and the kind of action they will witness on Friday night. The wild, uninhibited, non-stop battering ram type of action. And the effort to get that coal miner's glove will be a fierce one, because that will be the deciding link in the outcome of that battle. There goes Sawyer. Up and over and down. And right now, we'll tell you, we'll pick up the closing moments of this match in just a moment. And here comes the man who has interfered in this battle, and that is Dick Slater, called unpredictable, but he is predictable in one thing, and that is that he will cause trouble no matter where he is. Coming in on the opposite side is Buzz Sawyer. Buzz Sawyer has had his head busted open, and so has Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Referee Tommy Gilbert trying to get rid of Dick Slater on the outside of the ring. And up in the ring with his familiar dog chain and collar is the Mad Dog himself, as he goes in there to drive at Hacksaw Jim Duggan and to use a clothesline effect on his throat. And that, I think, is the most potent use of the clothesline that I have ever seen. I've seen men use their arm, use the top rope or the second rope, but in this particular case, he actually used this as a clothesline, would catch a man and delivered it with tremendous force against the throat of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The man who has been declared the winner in this battle is Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, and Tommy Gilbert has raised his hand, but he is not pleased with getting the verdict that soon. Here comes Butch Reed, and Butch Reed is ready to get Sawyer out of that ring. Now, remember that this Friday night at the Coliseum, there will be a pole in one of those corners, and on top of that pole will be the coal miner's gloves. Something is bound to happen when that glove comes down and onto the fist of one of the contestants. And the two contestants will be Buzz Sawyer, who just clotheslined Duggan, and Duggan, who says that no man is going to get him that way and get away with it. And he says, listen, tough guy, when I get that coal miner's glove, it's going to be curtains for you. In effect, that's Duggan's attitude. He doesn't moan over things that have happened. He knows he's tough. He knows that people use tough methods to get him, because if they don't, they're not going to get him. And Duggan has won the hearts of wrestling fans. But at the Coliseum on Friday night, he's going to win a lot more.
Card capped off by one of the most dangerous matches in professional wrestling, a coal miner's glove match. That's the match that Hacksaw Duggan can't lose. He's the king of the coal miner's glove match.
I want to know how he got that match. I want to know right now. That's his match. I went out here in Houston and beat him, and everybody here saw it. Now he goes to promotion and he gets his own match. What do you think I am, a crazy man or something? Yeah, I am. You got your match, Duggan. I want you to look in these eyes. I want you to get real close, big boy. I want him to understand what pain is. Because, you see, he already understands what the chain is. And all you stupid people here in Houston, Texas, they got a lot to learn about the Mad Dog. So what? He goes to Paul Boss and he gets the match.
A match that has knocked wrestlers out of wrestling before.
Hey, listen to me. You're on his side. I know it. The people know it. So you just treat me with a lot of respect while I'm staying here where I got to stand you. Listen to me. I want to know why they had the damn old match. I want to know why they signed. I got to climb a pole 10 feet high with a steel little pole in the middle. You shut up. See how all these crazy people are? They say I'm crazy. They say Duggan's crazy. I want you people in Houston, Texas to know something. When you come and see the Mad Dog, I want you to get on your knees and beg, Duggan. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to make it real rough on him. Come on, tough guy. Put it up there. I'll climb the pole and knock you out.
Well, Hacksaw Jim Duggan has to meet Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. Coal miner's glove match, one of the most dangerous matches in professional wrestling. A coal miner's glove, leather and metal, will be on top of a 10-foot steel pole. The man who can climb the pole.
He may not be able to speak, but we have just had a lot of sign language in the dressing room, and he made me guarantee that on Friday the 13th here in the Sam Houston Coliseum, he would get his specialty against the man who ruined his voice box tonight, Buzz Sawyer. He wants that 10-foot pole erected in the corner and a coal miner's glove on top of it, and he wants to be able to use it.
Gosh, I'll tell you what, a lot of people after what happened, excuse me, what happened tonight would want no more part of Buzz Sawyer. They say things are getting a little too rough, things are getting a little too tough, and get out of there. But that's not Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You nailed me pretty good, Buzz Sawyer. You hurt my throat. You split my head open like a ripe tomato. But you know what? I'm just getting a piece of you now. I'm just starting to get fired up. Because like Paul Bosch, he can tell you, because I can't talk a whole lot right now, but he can tell you, a coal miner's glove match, that's my specialty. And that's going to be your ticket out of Mid-South, tough guy.
And he we're not going to ask you to talk anymore, but he has already said a mouthful. He was hit across the throat with a chain, and it has hurt him. He has been keeping ice packs on there in the dressing room. It's time for him to go back.
I'm Jim Ross, and along with Joel Watts, we'll describe the action, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for making Mid-South Wrestling a part of your television programming in your home. Ladies and gentlemen, today you're going to see Jake the Snake Roberts in action. You're going to see Dick Slater, and of course last week we saw Mr. Slater in action without Dark Journey at ringside. It's going to be interesting to see if she reappears at ringside here today on television. Plus, you're going to see the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Sir Oliver Humperdink's Hot Stuff, Eddie Gilbert, and the Nightmare. We've got so many other great stars like Al Perez, Humongous is here, Dr. Dusty Williams, and the Bruise Brothers will be here. A lot of intense action in the Mid-South area as of late. Of course, we know that the serious nature of the fines that have been levied. I want to give you this updated report that Dick Slater and the NWA World's Champion Ric Flair have each been fined $5,000 for their participation in the incident a couple of weeks ago with Hacksaw Butch Reed. We'll touch on that as the hour progresses. Dick Murdoch, as you know, you heard from Cowboy Bill Watts, has been suspended. And, of course, Joel, in regard to that suspension, I know you have an updated report on the progress of Ted DiBiase.
Well, you know, last week, folks, we had a telephone interview with Ted DiBiase. We have another one for you again this week. Let's listen to that now.
Well, the latest prognosis by the doctor is just a little more lightning, a little more heartwarming than the last. They've informed me that the injury I received is mending well. That as the swelling goes down, their prognosis is not quite as severe as before. They are telling me now that they are hopeful that I will recover fully and that I will be able to wrestle again. Again, they're not saying that this is an absolute and that I'm by no means out of the woods, but at least they're not telling me that it's all over. And knowing that, my thoughts have been directed towards two people. Ric Flair, taking part in trying to end my career, and more so than that, Dick Murdoch, a man who I've known all my life, a man who did help me into professional wrestling, a man whose father and my father were very good friends, and even though we shared professional differences in the past, I never thought that he would be quite so jealous of me as to try to end my wrestling career. If I get over this, Dick Murdoch, you better be looking over your shoulder.
Well, Ted DiBiase, there was some uplifting news. It's good to hear. After a fractured 7th vertebrae in the neck, I consider it a miracle that he's even survived without being paralyzed. We're getting ready to go to the ring, and Jake the Snake Roberts. Once again, Dick Murdoch has been suspended. Mid-South is not going to stand for that kind of action going on, and one man who's not going to stand for the mask of Humongous is Jake the Snake Roberts, and he's in the ring getting ready to go.
This event, one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner to my right, Rob Ricksteiner. And across the ring in the blue corner from Atlanta, Georgia, Jake the Snake. Your referee, Tommy Gilbert.
Jake the Snake Roberts, the man with the feared DDT, the single most deadly weapon in professional wrestling, as he prepares to go one-on-one with the All-American and former Big Ten amateur champion from the University of Michigan, Rob Ricksteiner.
Collar and elbow tie-up. Rob Ricksteiner with a display of strength there. Jake the Snake with a sly smile. He's been, I guarantee you what, Jim, Jake the Snake is tied up with some of the strongest men in professional wrestling, and he has come out on top in many occasions. He's taken his lumps and his bruises, and he's been beaten up by that mask of Humongous lately. But Jake the Snake, with that wily mind of his, always seems to figure out a way to come out on top. Now, you notice he's not wearing that mask in the ring. He only wears it when he goes up against Humongous, and I think that is certainly admirable. Because, and even when he does wear that mask, I've noticed that he uses it as a protective gear instead of a weapon.
Well, Sir Oliver Humperdink certainly has Humongous primed to use his mask as a weapon, as we see Rob Ricksteiner, who with a tremendous amateur background, with that right hand you will not find in the wrestling room at the University of Michigan or anywhere else. Jake the Snake Roberts, a master of leverage, strategy, and that ominous-looking headgear is staring at us on the corner ring post as this crowd is obviously solidly behind the man with the DDT, and they do love the DDT. You'll see DDT shirts, and when he goes to the ring, man, they chant it, and it makes the rafters shake in virtually every arena in the Mid-South.
Well, Ricksteiner turns his attention to Jake the Snake. It goes into a test of strength with the Snake. I'm sure the Snake wouldn't have put himself in this situation.
Well, I talked to Rob Ricksteiner, Joel. Bo Schembechler recruited him to play football at Michigan. He opted to wrestle. Very successful in that as an All-American. He's a rookie, ladies and gentlemen, with a tremendous future, but rookies oftentimes, Joel, have a hard time against the man with the DDT as Jake used the ropes for leverage.
That's a key word there, Jim, leverage. Every time you talk about Jake the Snake, you've got to bring up that point, because that man knows how to use his leverage. It's a great tool in amateur wrestling, and I'm sure Rob Ricksteiner had to deal with it as well. Jake the Snake breaking off that.
Well, he had a little verbal confrontation there with Tommy Gilbert, and to Tommy Gilbert's defense, that was the correct maneuver. The official had to make him break. He did use the ropes to gain an offensive advantage.
Back into that collar and elbow tie-up, and Jake. Beautiful headlock takedown. Ricksteiner using the hair there. It hasn't taken Ricksteiner long to figure out that you can take a shortcut now and then to get to where you want to be. But Jake the Snake has been down that road a couple of times too. And he will do just whatever it takes. Look at Jake. Would I lie to you, referee? Another headlock takedown.
Very well executed by Jake the Snake Roberts. Don't forget, coming up, we'll have a special statement from Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Sir Oliver Humperdink, and we'll also see the Mid-South Tag Team Champions in action.
Ricksteiner. A lot of strength utilized there, managing to take Jake the Snake back into the predicament. Both men now back up to their feet. Oh, a hard shoulder smash off the ropes. Jake really caught him, but it looked like Jake hurt himself too. Ricksteiner's like a human brick wall. Again, Jake the Snake.
He's utilized that maneuver, Joel, 3 or 4 times now very effectively, and I think that's the mark of a veteran. Until Ricksteiner figures out a defense or a counter, I'm sure Jake will go right back to that same maneuver once again.
Well, Jake is making this. Whoa, wait a minute. Ricksteiner turns it around and hits him the back suplex. Jake gets up slowly, but he's in a lot of pain. A lot of people don't realize just how hard that wrestling ring really is. A couple of minutes against Jake the Snake and Rob Ricksteiner, and you can find out in a hurry just how hard it is. Jake the Snake trying to clap the forearms over the ears.
Well, this is a very effective maneuver for Ricksteiner with a low center of gravity and tremendous upper body strength that he possesses. He's really got the bear hug locked in, a very simplistic maneuver, but at the same time, a very physical one. He's got those big arms right under the rib cage.
Well, we're seeing the basics in action here for certain. But Jake's not the kind of wrestler that keeps his distance from a man unless he's using it tactically. He'll tie up with you and use that leverage that we've talked about.
Well, Ricksteiner was talking to the crowd when he should have been watching his opponent, and Jake Roberts once again used the ropes with a thunderous knee lift.
The fans are already on their feet, calling for the DDT. They could sense it, but at that point, it just wasn't right. Jake the Snake did not have Ricksteiner where he wanted him. And to be frank with you, he's really going to have to put a lot of punishment to this man in order to get him set up for that DDT. Because I'm sure as an amateur, Ricksteiner has had a lot of experience with front face locks, which is what sets up the DDT. And Jake caught the ropes. manages to get that foot up in the air, kicked him with that big boot. Jake goes behind. He slips around, yes!
DDT par excellence right there. Nobody gets up from that one. Jake Roberts had to reach way down. The winner of the match, Jake the Snake Roberts, with his patented DDT. And we'll be back with a talk with Hot Stuff and Sir Oliver right after this. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, along with Sir Oliver Humperdink, made a statement for all the ladies in the Mid-South viewing audience. As usual, Eddie Gilbert was his normal egotistical self, a very arrogant young man, what I have said, with the biggest ego in wrestling. And that's my own opinion, and that's I haven't judged everyone's ego, but Eddie Gilbert certainly stands head and shoulders above the ones that I have listened to. He made some interesting comments. Let's hear them at this time.
Wrestling fans, once again, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert has requested time for an announcement on Mid-South Wrestling. It has been granted, so he will make his words to you.
Hello, wrestling fans! This is Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Oh, this is a great day for me. This is a great day for all you ladies watching. Turn up your televisions. This is the time you've been waiting for. Isn't that right, Sir Oliver? This is the time for all the ladies.
That's it. This is the last week.
That's right. That's what I'm getting into. Last week, as everyone knows, Mr. Bill Watts and the rest of the Mid-South personnel told me that I only had 2 weeks from last week to give this beautiful prized possession of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert away. So what I have to come out here and tell you young ladies is that Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert is going to be giving this portrait away next week right here on Mid-South Championship Wrestling. But I want to tell you something. This has been very hard for me. I've had over 100,000 letters from all you young ladies. It's been very hard. So I had to go out, Sir Oliver, and you know this. I had to hire a couple secretaries, maybe 3 or 4. But you know what happened? The secretaries tried to write into the contest, so I had to fire them. This has been hard for me. So what's going to happen? I'm going to put it in the hands of Mid-South, because I don't want you girls being jealous of me. I don't want you being mad at Hot Stuff. So it's all going to be up to Mid-South next week. So you girls, you see the address. This is your last time for this beautiful portrait. See you later, girls.
Called our 10-minute time limit, a tag team match.
The greatest tag team match because it features my champions, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, the team from every girl's dream, Eddie Gilbert, and the dedicated, new, rejuvenated Nightmare.
And across the ring in the blue corner, their opponents, Steve Dahl and Brad Ringo. Carl Fergie, your referee.
Well, I think it's very easy to tell who the young ladies in the television audience are favoring at this point in time. No doubt about that. Steve Dahl and Brad Ringo. Two fine-looking young athletes making their first appearance on Mid-South Wrestling, a tag team competition, as Sir Oliver. Yeah, there he is. I said he had a big ego, and I'll stand by that statement at this point in time. But one thing about it, Joel, Sir Oliver, who belongs on the floor, not on the apron, has assembled a great wrestling machine.
He certainly has, and as many people remember, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and the Nightmare came here in tag team situations, but I think they've improved from that point. The Nightmare used to wear a mask. Now that he doesn't have that, his vision is less restricted, his breathing is less restricted, he seems more mobile. Eddie Gilbert has been facing the tough competition here in the Mid-South and has been forced to improve, and I think his strategy as well as his athletic prowess have definitely improved.
Well, he started off the bang in this profession as a professional wrestling rookie of the year, and he has mastered so many maneuvers.
Jim, I think that hot shot has really been a great addition to his arsenal of maneuvers. Even though it borders on the edge of legality, I would say that it has to be one of the more devastating holds that I've seen. Brad Ringo takes Eddie Gilbert to the corner, into the turnbuckle area, and makes the tag to Steve Dahl. Dahl and Ringo, I think, exhibiting good tag team strategy here with the quick tags, trying to keep Eddie Gilbert in their half of the ring.
That's extremely important for any tag team, especially a young tag team like Dahl and Ringo, because they know what they're up against. They know these men are the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, one of the finest tag team combinations in the profession. As Gilbert belly to back suplex, that got Dahl off of him in a hurry, and here comes the Beast, as in Beauty and the Beast, of this tag team combination. That's Sir Oliver Humperdink's terminology.
Jim, I think that's an interesting analogy there, Beauty and the Beast. I think one of the keys to their tag team success is the fact that they have two different attributes working at the same time. They have the heavy hitter in the Nightmare. He's coming in with the clubbing forearms right now. He's a tough man, former North American champion, but they also have Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert when they need to have somebody quick and agile in the ring. The key is to be able to make those tags at the proper times, at the time when it's most tactically advantageous. The Nightmare with the bear hug.
Well, they certainly have been able, the matches that I have seen them, been able to control the pace. Steve Dahl came off with a nice maneuver, but to no avail, really, to the Nightmare. As Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert with a little cheap shot there. Right there's another one. He's an opportunist if I've ever seen one. The referee's got to really gain control of this situation.
I'll tell you something, the Nightmare seems to have a really high threshold of pain. He's also hard to move. His legs are so powerful and stocky. If he doesn't want to go somewhere, you can't take him. Eddie Gilbert strutting his stuff.
Well, he strutted about one or two steps too many as Steve Dahl moves out of the way once again. That's got to be real frustrating and painful to Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. The Nightmare had Dahl worn down, and now Dahl has made the tag.
Whoa, Brad Ringo in with some stinging right crosses on Gilbert, but he comes back with a couple of his own, and he has Ringo staggered.
Gilbert showing a little mean streak there. Oh, did you see? He rammed Ringo's head right into the Nightmare's head. The Nightmare just blinked his eyes. He just blinked his eyes, barely flinched. Oh!
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert took Brad Ringo directly into the mat. That head just cracked against the mat. Inside cradle.
The Mid-South Tag Team Champions victorious on Mid-South Wrestling. And we'll look at Mr. Unpredictable right after this with the Mid-South Television Network.
Great tag team combinations in the world today, Hot Stuff. And there are a lot of them out there, and they're all coming for us. One of the top teams that comes to my mind when I think of tag team wrestling is the Guerrero brothers, Hector and Chavo. Well, Houston, Texas, get ready for it, because it's coming to a head. The Guerrero brothers against the Nightmare and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
You know, Sir Oliver, I want to tell all the people in Houston, Texas, there's not many times when I get real serious here. But I want to tell you people, I've stood in the back a lot of times. I've seen the Guerreros in action in Houston. I saw them in some of the toughest and bloodiest and goriest matches against Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death Steve Wins. I know what kind of men they are. I know we've got our work cut out for us. But boys, you don't know how hard I've worked, how hard the Nightmare worked, and how hard our managers worked, Sir Oliver Humperdink, to get these belts. And it's going to take a long, hard night for you to get hold of these belts, boy. Come on, boys. Come on, Guerreros.
Guerrero brothers, we're going to be in the ring waiting on you. Come on down and try it on for size.
A 10-minute time limit. In the red corner from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Unpredictable, Dick Slater. And across the ring, his opponent from Texarkana, Arkansas, Perry Jackson.
Perry Jackson getting ready to do battle with Mr. Unpredictable, Dick Slater. Tommy Gilbert, the third man in the ring. Perry Jackson, young man that has trained extensively with Hacksaw Butch Reed. Has a great future in this profession. Fine football player, college. But he's in there with one of the toughest and indeed one of the most unpredictable athletes in professional wrestling, and that is, of course, Dick Slater. And Joel, there is someone very conspicuous by their absence at ringside at this point in time.
Well, certainly, and that's Dark Journey. Kind of wondering where she is. I'd like to get comments from Dick Slater about it. Dick Slater is still upset, however, over the two $5,000 fines that he's received in his short period here in the Mid-South area. One other note, as Dick Slater was entering the ring, people were chanting, "We want Reed, we want Reed," and I think that's exactly what Dick Slater does not want, is Hacksaw Butch Reed.
You know, that's got to be also an added motivation for Perry Jackson, because I know he looks up to Hacksaw Butch Reed a great deal. He trains with him, and of course, why shouldn't he? Hacksaw Butch Reed, one of the greatest athletes to ever grace the squared circle.
Dick Slater is hammering him with forearms right now. Jackson is up against one of the masters. Whether or not Jackson comes out on top, he's going to get a wrestling lesson from Dick Slater. You can count on that. Dick Slater is just one of the greatest tactical thinkers in the ring today. And brother, that left cross has taken people right out of their socks, sent them through walls, doors, you name it. This guy is a great brawler, as well as being a great tactical wrestler. But look at this. Now he's working on the neck of Perry Jackson. And we saw him use that same hold to Butch Reed after he and Flair spiked Reed in the middle of the mat. And you hear once again the chants of the people. We want Reed. We want Reed. Jim, I think if Slater feels that he can control Perry Jackson, I think he'll do whatever he can to make an example out of Jackson.
Well, Perry Jackson's turning the tables on Mr. Unpredictable, and Jackson's got a fighting heart. He's an athlete. He knew what he was in for, Joe, when he signed this match, and he's giving his very, very best to Mr. Unpredictable, and right now he clearly has the upper hand.
Well, you won't see that happen too often. Not many people can outdo Dick Slater in a fist fight. But Dick catches Jackson right under the rib cage, right in the diaphragm, where it knocks the breath out of you, and Jackson falls to the mat like a rag doll. He's down and he's hurt. I could guarantee you that as Dick Slater puts a knee to the side of the head. And of course, even that hold, that knee to the side of the head, can punish your neck. Whoa! Jackson went for that drop kick and missed.
Jackson has made a couple of tactical errors here, and I'm not belittling Perry Jackson's effort whatsoever. But you can't make mistakes at Dick Slater and get your hand raised. The Slater's got him up for the pile driver. Oh! And he planted him. Joel, he did plant that young man, and that should be all. And that is Mr. Unpredictable Dick Slater with a very impressive and quick victory here on Mid-South Wrestling. And we'll be back with Sir Oliver Humperdink's Humongous versus newcomer Shawn O'Reilly right after.
I've had great big titles, and I've had every kind of major title there was in professional wrestling, and I've had to get it the hard way. I've had to dig down deep and bring myself up to a championship match in the way that I see fit. And Butch Reed, a low-down dog that you are, and I've said it, and the people that back you say it, that I have to go out of my way to come up with a no disqualification match for the North American Heavyweight Championship. Well, that's the way I want it, Butch Reed. Now I'm going to see what kind of man you really are. EQ, baby. You know what that means, Slater? That means that I can hurt you, because I know you trying to hurt me, sucker. So when Butch Reed, the North American champion, comes to town, you get ready, Slater. You get ready for a chair. You get ready for a pile driver on the floor. You just get ready to get your head took off down around your shoulder blades, because Butch Reed has got something that I want to pay you back for. Mid-South, and you got the coal mine gloves match. Okay, you stick this coal mine glove down with some big pole, and you gotta get to it. Well, listen, tough guy. I'll fight you in any kind of match you got. You come on down, and you people at home, if you don't got a strong stomach, you better stay there. Because, you know, it's not going to be a pretty fight. And Duggan, I want you as mad as you can be when you come here. I want you to think about when I knocked that old raggedy hag out. Accidentally, of course. I'm going to do the same thing to you, but I'm going to insult you, tough guy. I want you to bring the coal mines glove and knock me out. See if you can do it, tough guy. To face Buzz Sawyer
in a coal miner's glove match would be a little apprehensive. They'd be a little nervous, they'd be a little worried. But Hacksaw Jim Duggan is not most people. A matter of fact, old Hacksaw's got a Cheshire cat grin on. Because, tough guy, you walked yourself right into a trap. You walked yourself in a Hacksaw Jim Duggan's kind of a match. Because in this kind of match, nothing fancy, no fancy damn tricks, just basic wrestling, or excuse me, fighting knowledge. Knock the other guy down, climb up the pole, get the glove. That's my glove. Come on back down the pole and finish business. An eye for an eye, tough guy.
In Massachusetts, Shawn O'Reilly.
Six, 6 feet 8 inches tall, and he is a phenomenal athlete, no doubt about that.
Shawn O'Reilly trying to collar and elbow tie up with Humongous. Humongous is so powerful. O'Reilly's just going to have to keep his distance from this man and try and catch him off guard with high impact moves. He gets a reversal, and he's hammering away at the chest of Humongous. But of course, that's not quite as effective as hitting a man in the face. But you can't do that against Humongous.
And Humongous used the headgear to bury it deep in the midsection of Shawn O'Reilly.
That headgear is really an awesome weapon. But here's an awesome weapon, the Shinonomaki. The Shinonomaki, he has it locked in tight. Shawn O'Reilly's a big, tough guy. Carl Fergie asking for the break. He's called for the bell. The match is over. But once again, we see Sir Oliver Humperdink. And Jim, as you said, almost hypnotic-like suggestion for Humongous to break the hold.
Humongous wins the match in so impressive a fashion. He is the creature of the year, as Sir Oliver Humperdink said, and we'll be back with more exciting Mid-South Wrestling after this for the Mid-South Television.
Our 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, dressed in red, Mike Scott. And across the ring, Al Perez. Your referee, Tommy Gilbert.
Thanks for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Ross and Joel Watts at ringside on Mid-South Wrestling as we prepare to see lightning quick Al Perez, formerly one half of the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, go against a big, strong, young individual by the name of Mike Scott, who's got to tip the scales there, Joel, as we've seen. He looks to be in the 300-pound range easily.
He's a raw-boned athlete, has great, great potential. But he's up against a man that is a rough customer. And I'll tell you something about Al Perez. He'll keep his distance, and he'll wrestle a clean match with you. And he'll do whatever it takes tactically. But, brother, he can flat take your head off with that right cross.
He certainly can. As we see Al Perez, many of the fans might want to notice his wrestling attire is somewhat different than we have seen him in past weeks. But that is a result of a situation with Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death a few weeks ago. But I think the fans kind of like the way he's dressed. I know the young ladies in the audience certainly did when they saw him come into the ring.
No doubt about it. Al Perez gets a big hand wherever he goes. Oh, nice move by Al Perez in there with a front face lock. Takes it over into a penning predicament. There's that great amateur background showing through again. I'll tell you, with some amateur technique, you can learn how to handle a man that outweighs you. You can turn that weight advantage into his weight advantage, into your advantage in a lot of instances. You just have to know how to stay out from underneath that weight. Mike Scott with a hard elbow there. Oh, nice move by Al. He goes through the legs.
Well, Perez is utilizing his quickness and his expertise when he can against this big monster.
Oh. He just hammered Mike Scott. Perez being held up by a single leg, and he kicks him. The side savate kick. Another nice move. Mike Scott trying to get some advantage. Perez throws a really hard forearm. He could flat level you with it. As Mike Scott takes the advantage, and Al is going to have to get some distance from this big man. He goes to the turnbuckles and reverses it.
Belly back! Yes, sir! He's got that shoulder up. Scott's eyes are glazed, and he is out of it. 1, 2, and 3. Perez with that great strength turned him right back over. Great victory for Al Perez. And we'll look at two big ones, Dr. Death Steve Williams and Mark Hawk, right after this from our spot.
Right here in the Mid-South area, not the least of which is one Al Perez. But Al Perez, in your short career in this business, you have not to this date met anybody with the caliber of the creature from the Valley of Death. I'm talking about Humongous. When you step into the ring with Humongous, you're going to be in with the greatest force in professional wrestling today. So Al Perez, here's a word from me to you. Get it up from down here, show up, and I'll have the creature ready.
All the other wrestlers around here, I've been watching you a long time. I found a weak spot. I believe I have a weak spot for you. Because everybody does one thing, and that goes for that mask. I'm not going to go for the mask. I'm going for the weak part of the body, something that's not covered up. And I'm going to get it. I'm going to take advantage of it. You're going to feel me. And then you're going to feel a belt to the back, because no one's walked out of that ring with a belt to the back. And believe me, Humongous, you're not even.
In the red corner from the University of Oklahoma, Dr. Death Steve Williams. And in the blue corner across the ring, Mark Hawk. Your referee, Carl Fergie.
The four-time All-American from the University of Oklahoma, there you see him, was number 76 for Barry Switzer Sooners. Four-time All-American for Coach Stanley Abel for the University of Oklahoma wrestling team as he prepares to go against Mark Hawk and Dr. Death Steve Williams. One of the most physical men in or out of the ring that I have ever met in athletics or any walk of life. And he is, I think, one of the most improved wrestlers, Joe, in my opinion, in professional wrestling today.
He certainly is, Jim. You just can't say enough about his physical nature in the ring. Of course, he's kind of in limbo right now. He and Ted DiBiase had their eyes set on those Mid-South Tag Team titles, regaining them, to be specific. But now that Ted DiBiase has been injured, it looked like he was out of wrestling. Dr. Death has gone back to single competition. He's still good in tag team matches, but of course, he and Ted had gotten to the point where they practically read each other's minds in the ring. They were a wrestling machine.
I certainly concur with that statement. He is a tremendous athlete, and I think DiBiase really brought the best in Dr. Death out of him. I was officiating a football game the other day, and when the high school called their all-out blitz, they called it Dr. Death. That was the name of their defense. And basically, that's what Mark Hawk is experiencing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is an all-out blitz. They're bringing everybody. In this case, it's one 270-pound, well, he is a stallion, no doubt about it. The University of Oklahoma, Steve Dr. Death Williams, and he is really manhandling, to say the least, Mark Hawk here on Mid-South Wrestling.
Jim, I noticed the same thing. My little brother Micah's football defense last year called themselves the Dr. Death Squad. And Dr. Death is popular in his own right, although you can't agree with all of his ring tactics, some of his philosophy, but he's learning, he's growing. And as we watch him right here in the Mid-South become a true worldwide wrestling superstar. I firmly believe that Dr. Death can stand and compete with anybody in the ring today. He is truly main event caliber. As he goes to the collar and elbow tie-up with Mark Hawk. Hawk has tried several things against Dr. Death so far, but not much has seemed to work. Doc is So powerful. Oh, Jim, speaking of Dr. Death, losing his tag team partner, Ted DiBiase, the suspension of Dick Murdoch has caused... Whoa, wait a minute.
He has this big man set for the Oklahoma Stampede. Dr. Death Steve Williams, very impressive with his version of the Oklahoma Stampede. And we'll be back with the Bruise Brothers right after this from the Mid-South Television.
Half as smart, though. That's his problem. You see, Ricksteiner, you have just got into the world of professional wrestling. Now, me, I've been around a while. Time always tells the test now, doesn't it? That's what I've always heard. Well, in a short time, Ricksteiner, you got a chance to prove yourself. I know you're tough, but are you tough enough? I know I am. Try me.
Time remaining, a tag team match. Introducing first in the red corner, from Nashville, Tennessee, Ricky Starr. And his partner from New York, Broadway, Joe Malcolm. The Bruise Brothers.
You know my name? Hey, Gilbert out here running around talking about how pretty he is. He got some pictures to give away. Well, you know what thing, baby? The Bruise Brothers got some posters to give away. All you got to do is send them to the same address that you sent them, but only put the Bruise Brothers, because we got posters all over Chicago, baby. All over Chicago. The Bruise Brothers is wanted. What you think about that chop, baby? Oh, yes, sir. Oh, you know what the only thing about it, we're going to have to go back to Chicago to get some of them posters. Because, you know, they're wanted posters. And, brother, if you want them, we will give way to every week. Not like that to give us. You know, he got this $500 poster. But he's telling the pretty young ladies, but he gonna give it to them, right? 50 words of that. And I ain't seen him did nothing yet since I've been here. You understand what I'm talking about? Right or wrong, right? So let me tell you one thing, Daddy. All you females out there, and you want a poster of the Bruise Brothers, I guarantee you, brother, all we got to do is go back to Chicago, go to one of them post offices where they got them up against the wall and take one and give it to these young ladies. Ooh, cause, that Bruise Brother feel good. Ooh, we like people that got pictures. Oh, yes, sir. Hey, dog, you like people that got pictures, right? We gonna not give you one, boy. That's it, baby. Have mercy, baby. What you talking about? You can get one, baby, and hang it up on your bed and look at it all night long. Have mercy. Because we ain't going to be like hot stuff. Because we the Bruise Brothers, that's all. That's it, baby.
Your referee for this event, Tommy Gilbert.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They are dandies, no doubt about it. They make everybody feel good when they come out here. They feel good, and their posters were all over the post offices in Chicago. I think we better leave that one alone, Joel. But they did say that they would be giving some posters away. That should be an interesting situation. Write the address, same address, and Hot Stuff has been sending the mail for that. They are having some good. They feel good all the time. I wish I felt as good as they do all the time. And Pork Chops Cash, tremendous arm drag with Broadway Joe. He may wish he was back in the Big Apple.
Jim, these guys have a great sense of humor, but they really know how to mix it up in the ring. Brother, they could street fight with the best of them. Whoa, the Mad Dog with that elbow. He can really lay into you with that elbow. Ricky Starr in now. Whoa, he gets sent around from that single leg. Gets a left cross to the face. Clothesline. These two men, they're talking about Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I think they mean more than poster contest. I bet you they've got their eyes on those Mid-South Tag Team belts.
Oh, no doubt about it. They've got to be, they haven't been beating the Mid-South area. They've got to be one of the top contenders for the Mid-South Tag Team titles, no doubt about that, just on their one-loss record alone. And they are so unorthodox, it's hard to, I don't want to say scout them, but in essence, that's what I mean, because what do you draw from? No one else is like the Bruise Brothers.
Not really, and I don't think they're going to be out-quicked or out-muscled either. The Dog takes Broadway Joe in, sends him to the ropes, another clothesline. Tag into Cash. Little tag team action here. Double elbow.
Well, Broadway Joe may think he's on Times Square getting mugged about right now, because they are really doing a number on him.
Flying headbutt. Pork Chops Cash with the flying headbutt. There's that big splash. 1, 2, and 3.
The Bruise Brothers, the great victory, ladies and gentlemen, here on Mid-South Wrestling. As you hear the music in the background, and they are feeling good. They dance to the ring. They dance from the ring. They keep perpetual motion as the match progresses. They are a tremendous duo. The Bruise Brothers right here on Mid-South Wrestling.
Coliseum, we have Dick Slater with a twisting chin lock on Hacksaw Butch Reed, the North American champion. The North American title is at stake in this match. And Butch Reed, as he fights to escape from that chin lock, and he has been putting up a whale of a battle. He has been aggressive against Dick Slater, and he has rocked Slater down to his heels. And this crowd here is absolutely hoarse from screaming for the champion. There he is, Butch Reed. And Reed knows what it means to have the support of the fans, especially when he's defending that prestigious belt. And they're driving the head of Dick Slater down into the canvas as referee Tommy Gilbert looks across the ring and watches. Now, these two men have been rematched to appear in the Sam Houston Coliseum on Friday night. In this particular battle, you will see the reason why, and why Hacksaw Butch Reed calls Dick Slater a liar when he says that he deliberately got disqualified to save his North American title. Tommy Gilbert giving Slater the opportunity to quit if he wants to. That's always the privilege of a wrestler who's caught in any hold from which he feels he cannot escape and which he feels will do him harm. He can just say the word and the referee will stop the match. But right now, Reed is hoping he won't say the word, although there's a driving headbutt right into the pit of the stomach, and Dick Slater, as he comes in, goes to apply the spinning toe hold, and a quick retaliatory action by the champion, Butch Reed, and he hauled off and socked and for good reason, because the alternative, having that hold applied, and here he is applying it again, could mean a busted leg. At best, it means that you get so much pain that you can't stand it. This is an almost unbreakable hold. There are many wrestlers who will tell you that there is no such thing as an unbreakable hold, and that can be right in some circumstances. But this is almost unbreakable and absolutely certain to produce damage. So Slater, who is one of the toughest competitors in the wrestling game, now drags his man outside the ring and drops him on the steel barricade, the iron barricade that surrounds the ring and keeps the wrestlers from falling into people's laps and the people from the wrestlers. So the champion is down. Second, Pat Hatchell advancing toward him to help him up to his feet. Dick Slater, impatient but staying down, the mark of a veteran. He is trying to get all that he can out of this opportunity to rest while the champion could be counted outside the ring. But he's ready as Reed returns. There's the back body drop up high and down, and a tremendous crash into that canvas. It's Slater on top. There's one, there's two, and there is not three. And three is the denominator that means victory. And as Slater moves in, he aims, he finds his mark and drives it tight. And here's Slater going up for the advantage on the ring post as he tries to find his target. His target's moving up and coming forward. The Zinkai on the outside of the ring. Miss Doc Journey trying to shout words of encouragement to the man whom she accompanied into the ring and for whom she performs the services of a valet. And Dick Slater is taking a walloping around there and causing Doc Journey distress, but not distress for the fans, because the fans are solidly behind Butch Reed, and anything that Butch does is going to meet with their approval. Reed now from fists to knee, and he came down on that jaw with a lot of weight and a lot of power. But Slater's ready, going for this sleep hold, and quick move by Reed. He dropped out of it, and he come up with those feet, and he uses exactly the same approach a second time. And there is a man who doesn't know when he can't get the hold, and that's Dick Slater as he tries. He's going to drop in there with his head. He has a method of dropping in and driving his head against the temple of his opponent and causing him a blackout when he hits properly, and head injury if he hits any other way. And he seems to be able to survive it. And if he can take punishment in the head, Reed is ready to give it to him. So Slater caught in the corner and catching both hands from Butch Reed, but that right is always Reed's favorite. Now at the Sam Houston Coliseum on Friday night, these two will be rematched, and there goes referee Tommy Gilbert, and he was struck by 275 pounds of missile known as Butch Reed. But these two will meet in a North American title battle that will have no disqualification. Watch this pile driver, and down on top of the head, and this is one of the most dangerous holds in wrestling, and Slater now is hollering for the referee to come in the ring, and he threw Reed into Gilbert. Here's Gilbert moving around there. There's one, and there's two, and there is only two, and the time that he held Butch Reed down, if indeed he did hold him down, when the referee wasn't there, it just doesn't count. It just happens that it counts when the referee is able to see it and can give that 1, 2, 3. Tough job, and he gets a back body drop and hits that canvas, but it stops the pile driver. It's the conventional manner to put a stop to that particular maneuver, and believe me, if you don't, you're in trouble. He speared him, and Dick Slater is down, and here is Dark Journey on the outside, who just reaches over there and infuriates Butch Reed and takes Butch Reed's attention away from Dick Slater. And that, of course, is a bad mistake. He wants to catch Dark Journey and probably spank her, I don't know. And you see them on the outside on that far side of the ring as Reed turns Slater around and batters him on the jaw to drive him up the aisle. From outside to inside, and the driving elbow is the weapon by Slater as he comes in to try to punish Butch Reed, and Reed go in danger of the pile driver. Watch Slater holding on to that rope as he went over. Now that's the thing. Did Reed throw him over the top rope, or did Slater grab that top rope and pull himself over and go down and escape a precarious situation and get the victory? But he does not get the title on the victory of a disqualification. He accuses Reed of having fouled out in order to protect his title, and Reed said there wasn't any such thing, that this man, Slater, grabbed that top rope and pulled himself over. Well, he's not pulling himself over right now. Reed is trying to settle things not only with Dick Slater, but with Dark Journey on the outside. And Reed, as he paces, decides that Slater's the man he wants. He's the man he'll get at the Coliseum on Friday night with no disqualifications. Excitement, look at those fans, and you know the kind of excitement that was at the Coliseum and will be at the Coliseum this coming Friday night. Reed pounding, the match has already been decided, and here comes Dark Journey, and she is taking a chance as she comes into the territory of Butch Reed. Outside, we've got the crowd screaming for the referee to let him go, but he'll get him at the Coliseum on Friday night for sure.
You saw how close he came to winning North American Heavyweight title against Hacksaw Butch Reed. You also saw what happened with Dark Journey. Everything's busted loose. Friday, December 13th, when Houston Wrestling returns to the Coliseum, Dick Slater has got the return match he demanded. No disqualifications. Somebody's going to walk out with that North American Heavyweight title.
Damn right I'm going to. Let me tell these people something in Houston, Texas, and I want y'all to take a real close look at me. And you mark my word, I am tired of coming to Houston, Texas, and being robbed. I am tired of people holding up signs insulting my lady. I am tired of Butch Reed. Butch Reed, to me, you stink, my man. You're not a man to me. You're a low-down dog. Now, you deliberately got yourself disqualified the last time me and you climbed in that ring. The only thing you're trying to do is save the North American Heavyweight Championship title. So I asked for the no disqualification rule, because I can beat you, Butch Reed, because I'm a better man than you are, and I've got more class than you got. I've got more wrestling ability than you got, and I've got more people in Houston, Texas that like Dick Slater more than Butch Reed. Now, Butch Reed, all you got to do is bring yourself down to the ring in Houston, Texas, and I'm going to show you what kind of stinking ass garbage can you really are.
Dick Slater will
heavyweight belt. And this, you have been accused of deliberately getting disqualified to hold on to your belt, and even though you lost the match on a disqualification.
It's all right about that, Mr. Bosch. Let me tell you one thing. I heard Slater out here talking about that I deliberately threw him on the top rope. Well, that's a lie, Dick Slater. Just like everybody knows, you're a lying, cowardly dog. And let me tell you one thing. I didn't deliberately do it. My neck is in dire pain out there. He threw everything at me but the kitchen sink. But Butch Reed, out of sheer instinct, get him the backdrop out of the pile driver. And let me tell you one thing. It's only one way to sell it. I'll leave it go with that. Since I deliberately DQ'd myself, Slater, then we're going to come back to Houston, Texas with a no disqualification. How do you like that? That means no holds barred. Am I right, Mr. Bosch? That means I can tape up my fist and bust your head wide open to the bone. That means I can take you outside that ring, post you, pound drive you on the floor. That means I can leave you in the middle of that ring with your neck broke and you squirming like a chicken. So you get ready, Slater, because a no DQ is Butch Reed's kind of match, and I know how to hurt people.
Well, you know how he feels as the champion right now, and that's one way to go. He's going to keep you wondering about him. And you got to remember that a fall is a fall. So when it comes to a man who is close to the canvas and he doesn't have that much weight, why, it's just as devastating as the big fellow who falls from the height of 6 feet. Tokyo caught in a headlock. Koko putting the Koko Buster on his Oriental opponent. Tokyo takes great pride when he accomplishes something, but he sometimes has to work hard before he gets into a position to do any crowing over what he can do. And some of the stool pigeon fans are telling the referee that Tokyo is pulling hair. Good thing about Koko is that he works at both ends. Side headlock again, and Gilbert gives the count, but it wasn't necessary past 1.5. Head scissor is the hold, and with Koko's head caught in the short but powerful legs, why, there he is helping him along. A little bit of pressure on the outside, adds a little bit of strength to it. And good work by Koko. Tokyo now is returning some of the non-complimentary remarks that were handed to him by some of the fans. Watch out for this left-handed Japanese. He is an individual you're going to have to beware that you don't meet in a dark alley. He could handle a full-size man under some circumstances. Don't ever sell him short. A lot of Houston fans still remember the night that Dan Love, who was a sportscaster for one of the radio stations in town and then one of the television stations, and then went on network television when he came here and wrestled a midget wrestler for 5 minutes. Well, when it finished, Lord Littlebrook was giving compliments for not hurting Dan, but Dan was sure he didn't want to try it again. So Gilbert manhandles the Japanese, and we've got the twist on the arm. Watch those kicks. Small as he is, he has won honors in the martial arts and deserved every promotion that he got. Oh, man, wouldn't that jar you? He went high in the air and he hit like the proverbial bag of rice. He hit him right between the eyes. That was a pretty good shot. But Koko's accustomed to using that head of his in his attack. Well, I mentioned his head. Head is not the only weapon. On top is little Koko. There's one. There's two. And there's another one, two. The referee didn't enjoy having people thrown in his arms. He come up that time with the answer, I'll tell you. I'm a midget wrestling fan, and if I bust out laughing, it's a compliment to those two fellas, because I think every sport should be entertainment as well as being good, solid competition. These fellas are both. So Tokyo's looking for the place to put that shot in, and he found it. And again, as he comes whipping around, on top is Tokyo. There's one, there's two, and, well, Gilbert's playing favorites there. One step would have been enough. Standing up to his full height, he was treating Tokyo with a little bit of disrespect. And Tokyo is upset. Put your own words. So Tokyo and Koko with a side headlock now for Tokyo on the solid head of Mr. Koko. Oh, man, that was a crash. That was a good one. And he stopped him, he hit him, he knocked him, and down went Tokyo. Tokyo's still looking up, trying to find out what he wanted him to look for. He's asking the referee if the light was about to fall. Tokyo hasn't caught on yet. So having made sure that the candelabra are firmly tied to the ceiling, he was ready to go to work, but he went in. He's preoccupied now with the lights above. Oh, and that Tokyo, when he lands, he throws in a solid wallop, whether it's using the edge of the hand in a slashing, chopping fashion, or whether he's coming in there with that fist of his. He gets a good blow, and that, being left-handed, he comes from an angle that most wrestlers don't expect. Majority of wrestlers are right-handed. And right-headed, too. So Tokyo has toppled, and here is Koko looking to throw him. He might come right at you. Stay where you are. And if yes, here he comes. Almost out of the picture and almost in your lap. The fans are calling for another one. That's the avalanche hold. And the avalanche hold is the one that just tossed him across the ring and landed him with great force. So Tokyo now with that barefooted attack of his. But sometimes some of these barefooted wrestlers have such powerful feet and such a great deal of thick callus on there from the hours and hours they spend barefoot. Why, you begin to wish that they might wear shoes. Retaliation by Koko. And the side headlock. So Koko maneuvering. He got it. He turned him over. There's one. There's two. There's three. Just as slick as can be. Little Koko gets in there with a neat Nelson with his feet and turned him over and held him, and I think Tokyo was more surprised at the suddenness with which it happened than he had a right to be, and he lost the match.
Coliseum. This opening's being taped after the matches have taken place inside the ring, after another wild bust-up between Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and after promoter Paul Bosch has added to his huge Christmas Spectacular card a savage showdown, dog collar match, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, And you've either got to be a crazy man or a mad dog.
Crazy, and I don't have regard for life, for human beings. I don't have regard for nothing. You know, it seems like Paul Bosch went and outdid himself. You got that most vicious wrestling match in the country, in the world, right here, look at me. And you know what you went did? You went and brought Dick Slater from the building. You tell me what kind of law that is. You tell me what Duggan had to ask Paul Bosch to get that done with. He don't have to be nowhere. Why does he have to be barred from the building?
Well, why does Hacksaw Jim Duggan have to get on the other end of this chain in a match that you're world famous for?
Because I hate his guts. And because in Houston, Texas, you're going to see the most vicious match. 10 feet long. 25 pounds. If you don't like to hear the sounds of bones cracking and you don't like the sight of blood, you better stay home and do some babysitting, because Duggan, this is where it all ends, brother. This is where I beat them all. I beat the legends. I've drugged the Junkyard Dog. I beat the Funks. I beat the Hogans. I beat the Flairs. I beat every man in the world. And now there's a legend. And this legend's name's Jim Duggan. Well, Duggan, hook yourself up at the end of the Mad Dog and get yourself mentally and physically prepared for the fight of your whole life in Houston, Texas. When I'm done, I want all of you to get on your knees, and I want you to worship who's the king, and that's the Mad Dog.
Mad Dog Bud Sawyer battles Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan their chance to talk about this match that most wrestlers fear throughout the entire wrestling world.
2 days after Christmas, in the great Christmas spectacular here in the ring at the Sam Houston Coliseum, Hacksaw Duggan is going to put a dog collar around his neck. There's going to be 8 feet of chain holding him to Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, and I think that Duggan has some plans.
Fair play, Mr. Bosch. Old Buzz Sawyer thought he was a big, brave man. He says, Hacksaw, he says, I'll try your coal miner's glove match. And what happened right here in Houston in front of all these people? 1, 2, 3. I finished you off, and then old Dick Slater has to come down and put his 2 cents worth in. But you know, Mr. Bosch, Dick Slater is barred from the building next time. So you're all on your own, tough guy. And hey, I'm a fair guy. Everybody knows Hacksaw Duggan. I'll keep my composure. I'll try your kind of match. I'll go in there, and I'll strap that dog collar on, and go ahead and strap your dog collar on, and howl at the moon, or howl at the people, or howl whoever you want to howl at. But I guarantee you one thing, when that ring that bell, all you got to do is open your eyes and look at the other end of that dog collar, and you're going to see 6'3", 275 pounds of anger, of fury, of revenge, baby. You're going down. I'm ridding you out of Houston wrestling. Tough guy.
But he didn't do it. Kicking a man when he isn't looking is cruel, but sometimes it's fair. Rob Ricksteiner. Tough customer, and I want to tell you, a star to be in this game. When you come in with that advantage of having that much body and that much athletic ability, then you're going to go places. Jake the Snake has decided that maybe he's approaching this in the wrong manner, and that turning loose on Rob Ricksteiner might be the way that he can best do something about it. And Ricksteiner urges the referee to get Jake to open up those cruel but fair fists. Jake has caught on in a tremendous manner with these Houston fans. He is a man who has scored well with them. They like what he does in the ring, and they like what he does outside the ring. Body slam and a beauty. Here he goes for the DDT, that sudden drop into a face lock that literally annihilates his opponent. That is one of the most effective holds that I have seen in many years. Of course, front face lock has existed in wrestling for many years, but it's the manner in which Jake the Snake incorporates it into his general attack that really pays off. You hear it. You hear it. You see the struggle in there as they maneuver around in the ring. And it's Jake the Snake who came up the winner. He's the guy who got the best of that struggle. Here goes for the DDT, and look at, I'll tell you, Rob Ricksteiner is acting like Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake has slithered around that ring and escaped a lot of punishment during his career. The 5-minute mark has gone by, and Rob Ricksteiner feels that maybe he could learn to do the same thing. But Jake isn't going anyplace now except at Rob, head on. You can hear that noise, that chant, the chant that follows him every place he goes. Jake now using the soft approach. This test of strength goes to Ricksteiner. Ricksteiner is able to get the pressure on those hands. He's able to bend the back. And now as Jake comes up, he looks for the opportunity to even it. But I'll tell you, pride is worth fighting for, but it can sure get you into trouble. Jake could find another way out of this, but he was trying to equal the pressure being put on by Rob Ricksteiner. Go, Jake, go. That's not exactly DDT, but when he gets in position for it, they'll give him the DDT chant. So we've got Rob Ricksteiner trying to put Jake the Snake down by sheer muscle. Ooh, he went for the open spot, the wide open space in there under those arms and against the ribs. Pressured down on that top rope, and you saw the snap of the rope. And as we have told you many times, the ropes are really cables covered with rubber. Now Jake's in trouble. He has caught some of the effectiveness of the combination of Ricksteiner's muscle, Ricksteiner's ability, and he is trying to recover from that so that he can move in on this man and take care of him. Jake into the ropes. He got a shoulder. The shoulder swung around and hit him. Offensive move by Rob Ricksteiner, and Jake's in trouble. Rabbit punch, and now he had to fight his way out from underneath with a hard bench press move. Reverse chin lock. Now the goes, Jake goes. There on Jake's side, and the Go Jake Go rings out here in the Sam Houston Coliseum. And as Jake moves up to one knee and 1 foot, he's halfway up there, but there it is. And Rob Ricksteiner isn't sure, he's not certain that he can do it with strength, so he gets around for the illegal leverage, and sure did it that time. So Jake's caught. The Snake is in a noose right now, and in a trap too. And as he starts to maneuver, Rob Ricksteiner is able to shift that referee around almost at will as he goes from one side to the other. Is it a chokehold? Well, if that chin remains in the crook of the arm, it's not a chokehold. But if he lets that slip down and uses the forearm against the throat, it sure becomes a chokehold. And it only takes an inch or two of movement to do it. Jake goes for the standing arm lock, the Japanese arm lock. And again, he was jerked off his feet that time and taken down to the canvas. And Carl Fergie's arguing with Ricksteiner. The fans are snitching on Ricksteiner. They're telling the referee that he did pull the hair, but Ricksteiner knows the referee didn't actually see it and is hesitating about breaking it because he knows that he's supposed to see what happens. So Ricksteiner stays behind Jake. He leans in solidly and presses against the back of Jake's head, pushes that chin forward, and as Jake maneuvers around to get into a position, you see him fighting his way up. 10 minutes have gone by. 10 minutes, and Jake comes driving back with that elbow, found tender territory, out of the ring and off onto the floor right here alongside of us, almost in our lap. Jake the Snake. There's Ricksteiner outside the ropes and doing the clubbing and smash. He smashed Jake the Snake into the ring post, and watch out, here's Jake the Snake. No! He crashed him down into the mat. Tremendous move. And this crowd just jumped up to its feet. Those people just let loose a roar. Look around at this crowd if you can. The people standing up there screaming, and the moment that head hit that canvas, they let out a roar, a much-deserved roar. Jake the Snake is a winner, and Jake the Snake used the DDT. You couldn't find happier fans any place than those here in the Sam Houston Coliseum.
I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action. This is the first night of the Mid-South TV tournament. 14 top entries are entered. Tonight, we'll see the first matches. This was brought about, the tournament, because of Hacksaw Butch Reed winning the North American heavyweight title, and the board of directors of Mid-South wisely scheduled this tournament to have a new champion because of the pressure it would put on Hacksaw Butch Reed had he had both titles, the North American title and the Mid-South Television Championship. Also, we'll see the two Hacksaws team up in tag team action, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Hacksaw Butch Reed, and Hacksaw Duggan's girl, Deborah, will be here this week. Also, the Mid-South Television Tournament matches you'll see this week, Ricky Gibson versus Tommy Wright, Shawn O'Reilly takes on the Nightmare, and Al Perez versus Mr. Unpredictable, Dick Slater. It adds up to a great one-hour program, a lot of actors to tell you about it, and add his comments, the Mid-South Wrestling's president, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Well, thank you, Boyd. You know, this television tournament's going to be a little bit different because we're not going to bracket it like we have in the past. We're going to throw all the names in the hat, and they're picked by random drawing. That way, you could end up having Slater against Sawyer, for instance. That'd be very interesting, wouldn't it? Or you could have Duggan against Jake the Snake or something like that. There could be some interesting confrontations, just like tonight you have Ricky Gibson against Tommy Wright. That should be a clean, scientific bout, something a lot of people do appreciate. We have some fantastic news also. Ted DiBiase's prognosis has become positive. It looks like Ted DiBiase will be able to wrestle again. I really think that's exciting because it looked really dark for that young man. We have forwarded all the mail we've received at the Mid-South offices to Ted. We've protected his address for his own personal reasons to let him have this time to recover. However, Joel did talk to him by telephone. Let's listen to this telephone recorded interview.
Well, I've got some great news. The doctors have told me that this injury is mending. It's going to mend completely. I am going to be able to wrestle again. And as of right now, I will make my return debut to the ring on Christmas night. And I've got to thank Almighty God for this. I can't think of a better Christmas present that I could ever get than being able to get back in the ring after a few weeks ago wondering whether I'd ever wrestle again. And with that, it goes without saying, I want one of two people in that ring on Christmas night. Ric Flair, if you're any kind of man of all, if you're the world champion that you say you are, after trying to end my career, put your name on the dotted line. And more importantly than you, Flair, Dick Murdoch, a man who's been a friend of mine for a long time, a man who's not only been my friend, but has been a family friend, has known my father and your father, went back a long way. We come from the same background, Dick Murdoch, the same heritage, and you go ahead and you were so jealous, Murdoch, that it was me in the limelight and not you, that you'd go ahead and drop me on my head and try to put me out of wrestling for good. Dick Murdoch, put your name on that line, because whether you put your name on the line or not, I'm coming for you, Daddy.
Well, that'd be a great Christmas present for everybody in Mid-South to see Ted DiBiase again. You know, when you've been injured like that, where you think your career's over, and you sit there, you have a lot of time to mull it over and really think. And I'm sure that a lot of his thoughts have been on Ric Flair and Dick Murdoch. I spoke to Dick Murdoch, and his suspension is up as of December 21. And Murdoch has said he's going to come take the North American title from Butch Reed. However, there could be a really explosive situation between he and DiBiase. Of course, this all started with Flair. And a month ago, Flair was here, and he and Slater apparently had some kind of get-together, and they Pearl Harbored Butch Reed. Ric Flair was fined $5,000, and that really incensed him because as world's champion, sometimes he thinks he's above being fined. But let's listen to Ric Flair's comments about the $5,000 fine.
You know, you think you really got something coming down, don't you? You see, the Mid-South, and I'm going to tell you right now, they're one of the most powerful wrestling organizations anywhere in the world. But they're not bigger than Ric Flair. You know why? Because I'm the world's champion. And fining me $5,000, that's right, fining me $5 grand is like jumping on the Chase Manhattan. You see, that just put more fuel on the fire. Butch Reed, what Dick Slater and I did to you, you had coming, because we don't like you. You're a big monkey with no brains. We don't like you at all. Dick Slater is class. Journey, woo, is one of the finest young ladies I've ever seen in my entire life. And as y'all know, Space Mountain's been around the world 25 times. I know them all. So you see, by finding me $5 grand, all you've done is bring Dick Slater and I closer together, Butch Reed. And I know you're sitting right there in Bill Watts' lap. You're a really happy man right now because you think you got me back right where you want me for a world championship shot. I don't care if I'm in a tag team match. I don't care if I got you head up, Butch Reed. You know what you are, buddy, and you got to live with it 24 hours a day. I know what I am, and every time I look in the mirror, woo, I know I'm all man, and I know I'm the world's heavyweight wrestling champion. $5,000. You know, Dickie Slater one time charged me $5 grand just to slide my big 19-inch bicep around Journey's waist. And I'm going to tell you all something right there. She was oh so fine. You understand? Woo!
Well, I think Ric Flair's a little more upset than he wants to admit about that fine. And, of course, the way he spends his money is his own business. He's always been a playboy. Tonight we were to give the winner of the Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert portrait contest. We have selected a winner. Mid-South has selected a winner. However, when we got here tonight, Eddie Gilbert claims the portrait has been stolen. I feel the same way as the fans. However, we're not going to announce the name of the winner tonight because we're going to wait and try to investigate and get to the bottom of this. Eddie Gilbert claims at this time, Hot Stuff, that portrait has been stolen. That's all I can report to you now. We'll withhold the name of the winner till we locate the portrait or see what can be done about it. Dick Slater and Dark Journey, Mr. Unpredictable, Mr. Controversial here, and he has asked
First of all, let me get my face on this camera here because it's more important than his and it's more important than yours. Second of all, I'd like to say one thing. You talk about playboys. Well, Dick Slater's done a lot of things in professional wrestling. And of course, he's got the best looking women. And what I'd like to do and why I'm out here tonight, Bill Watts, is because Butch Reed doesn't have a gut in his body. I am after the North American Heavyweight Champion. Ric Flair's a little bit mad at me right now because I got $50,000 of his dollars and I haven't collected on that.
Well, I might say the way you're getting fined, you're going to run out of that 50 grand pretty quick.
I don't run. If I run out of $50,000, I'll get another $50,000. That doesn't matter. The thing about it is, Journey, is I've always been a better man than Butch Reed. And I always will be a better man than Butch Reed. And if Butch Reed has any guts at all...
Mr. Slater, excuse me. One thing about it is you faced Butch Reed in a bounty match and he whipped you, and you faced him in a North American title match and he still got it, so he whipped you there. You need to take up your title request. Just a minute. You need to take your title request up with matchmaker Grizzly Smith, because I don't think Butch Reed is obligated to give you another shot. However, Boyd, we'll be back
Butch Reed ain't got
with
any
more
guts.
after these
I'm
messages from the sponsors of Mid-South Wrestling.
Mid-South Wrestling, I want to take this opportunity to speak very quickly with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Hacksaw Butch Reed, and this fine young lady. Deborah is back with us. Welcome back, both of you.
Well, you know, I was a little apprehensive about bringing her back out here, because I told her the first time that I'd take care of her. Now, me and Hacksaw Butch Reed, my partner, we were up there and we told her. We said, hey, baby, don't worry. This time we're both keeping our eyes on you. You know, my ideas still haven't changed. A woman's place is not in the ring. But, you know, my folks didn't raise no fool, and I am a gentleman, so I won't put my hands on no girl. But I did show my girl, Deborah, a few of my favorite holds, and she's going to be keeping her eye on Dark.
So you've had a little bit of training. More importantly, welcome back. On behalf of Mid-South Sports, we're glad to see you back and feeling a lot better.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. I'd like to say thanks for the cards and letters, and, you know, he has shown me a few things, and I know how to protect myself now, so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's extremely important. It's great news. Gentlemen, you're undefeated as a team in the Mid-South area. I want to wish you the very best of luck tonight in your upcoming match. Butch, very quickly, we did hear some comments just a few moments ago from Dick Slater, directly at you, your thoughts on what he had to say.
Well, it's like this, Jim Ross. I done beat the chump in championship match. I done beat him in the bounty match. So far as I'm concerned, you understand, Dick Slater is history as far as taking Butch Reed on for the North American title. So I will say this. Until he comes up with something that interests Butch Reed in the signing of North American title, well, this is going to be just like it is right now, because you understand, Jim Ross, I'm going on to bigger and better things. My mind is on the gold. Slick Rick Flair, and I'm coming for you, Flair. Forget it, Slater, till you show me something that I want.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard those comments from the Hacksaws. Now the introductions to our next match. Introducing at 267 pounds from Alabama, Tiger Tab. His partner at 285 from Alaska, Mike Scott. Their opponents, ladies and gentlemen, at 265 pounds from Kansas City, Hacksaw Butch Reed. His partner at 275 pounds from Glens Falls, New York, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Now you heard the introduction and the interviews. The match, Tiger Taub from Alabama teaming up with Mike Scott against the Wrestling Hacksaws, Jim Duggan and Butch Reed. Paul Fergie called for the bell. Bill's ready.
It looks like Tiger Tab was trying to intimidate Hacksaw Duggan, and a lot of people try to do it. 4 years as All-American at SMU and in the National Football League, and of course Hacksaw Butch Reed with Big Mike Scott. There's some heavyweights in that ring right now. Mike Scott just took a dump right there on the floor. He just got knocked out of there. And the Hacksaws using that All-American football technique. Both of them played in the National Football League. And
holy moly!
Tiger Tab, for all his physique, just got introduced to Mid-South Wrestling Tough Style.
And the winners, the Wrestling Hacksaws, Jim Duggan and Butch Reed, take the measure of Tiger Taub and Mike Scott. We'll be back with the first Mid-South TV tournament match after this word from Mid-South.
Television tournament, the first match, the first round, introducing in the red corner at 225 pounds from Pensacola, Florida, Ricky Gibson. His opponent in the blue corner at 221 pounds from Florida, Tommy Wright.
Tommy Wright versus Ricky Gibson. Bill wants this should really be a tremendous matchup here in this first of the Mid-South TV tournament bout.
Sure should, and both these men are scientific wrestlers. Both are junior heavyweight guys. Ricky Gibson, the former world's junior heavyweight champion. We're getting a lot of calls from the junior heavyweights because we have been considering a world junior heavyweight championship tournament. However, these guys are in the Mid-South television tournament with some changes being made, and that all matches will now be one fall to a finish for the television title. There will not be the restrictive 15-minute time limit. The Mid-South television title has gained so much prestige and recognition that we're going to treat it like a full-blown title where it is, people are not restricted by such a negative aspect as a 15-minute time limit. You just have some great athletes that have to have time to make tactical maneuvers, and that restricts them in that aspect. Ricky Gibson up for a flying head scissor. Tommy Wright lost his balance. They're into the ropes. It's close. The referee calling for a break. This is the kind of match that a lot of fans at Rightus have asked for, a clean, scientific bout. We brought this to you. It came out of the drawing. It was a random situation. We were really glad to be able to bring it to you. This is, again, another change in the bracket-type situation for this tournament, that whoever advances in the tournament, all the names will be thrown back in the hat and redrawn for next week until we're down to the final winners. If it gets into where there would be only 3 names in the hat, somebody would draw a bye, and the other 2 would wrestle off, and then whoever had the bye would go back in the hat, and they would again draw and face each other. We have 3 television tournament bouts tonight. Shawn O'Reilly against the Nightmare, and then Al Perez against Mr. Unpredictable Dick Slater. Of course, we're really glad to have Deborah back with us. So Jim Duggan's girlfriend. I certainly hope that by him saying he's taught her a few moves to help her defend herself, that I just don't know how much or where that involvement would go. I'm sure she's incensed. Talking to her before today's show, she said, you know, you've got to protect your man. You know, I can't help him against the other wrestlers, but if that dark journey interferes again, she says, I'm just emotionally, I've got to try to defend my man. So this could be a very explosive situation if these 2 hooked up. It'd be like an alley fight. The bad thing is you've got Sawyer and Slater, who don't, I believe, have any real moral integrity about the difference in the role in a man and a woman. I think that certainly we've seen that Buzz Sawyer would more than accidentally try to injure her. And of course, Duggan is still very incensed about that situation. Brett Wayne, another tremendous athlete. I'm sure all you young ladies that used to watch him on Channel 17 will be thrilled to hear. He's on his way to Mid-South. He is the brother of Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. But he said, when he called, he said, I'm not coming here to support my brother. I love him, but I don't approve of what he's doing in Mid-South. Certainly what he did to Duggan's girlfriend was a shock. He said, I want to come down here. I want to wrestle in the Mid-South. It's the toughest competition in the world, and I'm very interested if that junior heavyweight title, if you truly have that tournament. So we're getting a lot of interest. We appreciate your cards and letters on the subject. Again, great news. Ted DiBiase returning Christmas. Of course, Dick Murdoch's suspension up as of December 21, and he's hot on Butch Reed's trail, and I'm certain. And Dickie did say something, and I really was reluctant to repeat it when I asked him, because, you know, Dick Murdoch is a guy that helped Ted DiBiase get his scholarship at West Texas State University. He also helped him get into pro wrestling, was a friend of his father, and he and Teddy were friends. And I said, is there any remorse about what you did to Teddy? You know, you looked like you had ended his career. And Dick Murdoch is a very stubborn man, and he's not one that I've ever known in any way to apologize for anything. When he takes a view, he's going to go with it all the way. And he told me, he said, if he gets in my way, if Ted DiBiase gets in my way, again, I will finish it. And Dick Murdoch, you can't take that lightly. Inside cradle. Ricky Gibson, Tommy Wright. Tommy Wright held on to the rope, which threw Ricky Gibson's timing off. And when you go over those high-risk moves, it's a good move on Tommy Wright. That's a strategical move. Body slam. These guys are mixing it up. A lot of prestige at stake, this Mid-South television title. Tommy Wright pressing the attack. Ricky Gibson, he hung on to that leg, going for a single leg. Attack of the leg. Spinning toe hold. Ricky Gibson into that leg maneuver. And he's got Tommy Wright's shoulders pinned.
never turned it loose of the leg and carried it out to a pinfall and a victory in this first Mid-South TV tournament bout. We'll be back. Steve Dahl versus Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert after this word from the exciting Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
Plus, Mid-South has barred Dick Slater from the Coliseum. He won't even be allowed admission if he wanted to buy a ticket on Friday night, December the 27th at 8 o'clock. Let's hear this from the undefeated dog collar expert, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer.
What do you think you're up to, Duggan? First you get Slater barred from the building. He ain't never bothered you. I always beat you up by myself. Do you know what you got yourself into, tough guy? You're looking at a 10-foot chain, weighs 25 pounds. You're looking at something that can do a whole lot of damage to you. I ain't never in my whole life been beat. I beat every legend from the Junkyard Dog after Ric Flair, after anybody, I beat them all, tough guy. Now I want to say, I know you believe in the American way. And I know that you believe in your old lady, that old hag. I know you believe on Christmas coming up, humbug. But Duggan, let me ask you something. Do you believe in life after death? If you do, come on down! First off, tough guy, don't say nothing bad about Christmas. You got enough things going wrong now, don't get me even more fired up. You know, Jim Ross, he talks about, sure, he's got credentials as long as my arm about that dog collar match. And he's took care of all kinds of guys. But never before, Bud Sawyer, have you faced a man like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Because I'm not afraid to go ahead and stick my face in there and take a lick. I may get knocked down. I may get my nose stuck across my face. But by God, you look right across that ring and you're going to see me standing back up. And you may say, hey, I've got an advantage. I got my match. I got Duggan a dog collar. Well, you're going to think it's a disadvantage when you walk through that door and you hear it coming from the rafters. You hear it coming from every seat, ringside. You hear everybody in that building, everybody in that state chanting, Duggan, Duggan, Duggan. And by God, Jim Ross, I've never disappointed those people in Houston, Texas, and I'm not going to disappoint them again. I'm getting rid of you trash once and for all. Drag your can.
Wrestling, one fall with a 10-minute time limit.
Hey, I'm going to do the introduction here, Ross. You just stand there and look intelligent if you can. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you one half of the Mid-South Tag Team Champions, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
And ladies and gentlemen, Hot Stuff's opponent at 215 pounds from the state of Texas, Steve Dahl.
Steve Dahl from Texas taking on Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert from Lexington, Tennessee, under the managership of Sir Oliver Humperdink. Bill?
Well, I tell you, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert's different. He is one half of the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. And, of course, the mystery is the stolen portrait. And I think, like the fans, I have my doubts. You know, it's rumored that Hot Stuff got so attached to his own portrait, he couldn't stand the thought of having to give it up. He sits in front of the fireplace and doesn't even watch television. He's looking at his own portrait. That was a very expensive portrait. I've never seen somebody spend that much money on a portrait for themselves. He's got quite an ego. Steve Dahl out here. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. We're going to try to do everything to get to the bottom of the missing portrait mystery, because he has promised here on Mid-South Television that he would give it. We have selected a winner, and we think that he should have to live up to his promises. Arm drag by Steve Dahl. Steve Dahl, a young, good-looking athlete. Keeps coming back. He's had some tough contests here on Mid-South, but he realizes, like anybody else, it's a great place to come and find out if you really got what it takes to measure up. Professional wrestling. I have some fantastic news. Fans have written we have received more mail about 2 stars, or actually 3 stars, than everywhere in Mid-South. The Rock and Roll Express and Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor has notified us that he will be back in the Mid-South area beginning Christmas. Terry Taylor will be coming back. That's fantastic news. I know you all will greet that. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert with the hot shot He takes the measure, young Steve Dahl, but Steve Dahl is improving, Boyd.
And we'll be back with the second Mid-South TV tournament bout after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
I am Jerry, the King of Wrestling Lawler, and I'm coming back to Houston. Hadn't been there in quite a while, but I got a match the 27th of December, the Sam Houston Coliseum, with the Masked Superstar. I'll be honest with you, I don't know too much about this guy or why he wears that mask, but I did hear that when he was a kid, he was so ugly that his parents used to have to sit him in a corner and feed him with a slingshot. I don't know about that, but I'll tell you one thing we're going to do. We're going to find out just how ugly he is, because I'm going to do everything in my power to take that mask off of the Superstar at the Coliseum. Now, I may not be the greatest wrestler in the world, but I got a pretty good right hand and not too bad a left. I got a little hole called a pile driver that I put a lot of people in the hospital with, including Andy Kaufman. And Masked Superstar, I'm coming for you on the 27th in Houston.
Tournament match, one fall, or television time remaining.
Now it's my turn again. Ladies and gentlemen, the second half of the greatest Mid-South tag team combination of any time, the champions, the Nightmare.
And the Nightmare's opponent in this television tournament match at 240 pounds from Boston, Shawn O'Reilly.
And another champion from the stable of Sir Oliver Humperdink, the Nightmare, and he takes on Shawn O'Reilly from Boston as Tommy Gilbert calls for the bell.
Boy, Shawn O'Reilly's a fast improving youngster. He's got the size, he's got the height, seemingly the desire. Of course, he's against a Nightmare, a well-experienced man, former North American champion, now currently one half of the Mid-South Tag Team title. Humperdink has 3 men entered in this television title tournament. He's got Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, he's got the Nightmare, and he's got Humongous. So he's really trying to stack the deck. He'd like to control the title situation in Mid-South. Young Shawn O'Reilly had the Nightmare down in a predicament there. They got a 2 count. Coming up, we will have Al Perez against Mr. Unpredictable Dick Slater. Then a new team combination. Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, Dr. Death Steve Williams. They're both in the tournament, too. Although tonight they're in a tag team match. I think it'd be interesting that the new drawing, if something would happen where those two would be against each other, both with a tremendous amateur background, both such tough guys.
And could really have a chance of 3 Humperdink stable of meeting each other.
Yeah, it'd be great if Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert got the draw against the Nightmare, or if one of them had to face Humongous. The Nightmare is almost 300 pounds, very stocky, methodical type individual. Of course, I'm telling you, my day has been made with the news from Ted DiBiase we got, and we shared the telephone conversation with you because I've watched that youngster. You know, he was a rookie of a year here in Mid-South. We've watched him grow. He's been very controversial. But I'll say one thing, Ted DiBiase gave it his all out there. Oh, another great honor that's just been recently bestowed is Dr. Death as the most improved athlete in wrestling. That was selected by Bill Apter and his New York magazine. A great honor for Dr. Death Steve Williams. He and Ted DiBiase sure had their sights set on regaining the Mid-South Tag Team titles. And of course, DiBiase having his shot against Flair that was such a disaster for him. I'm sure that he's had a lot of time to let that fester. Pile driver. It's a devastating maneuver.
And the pile driver.
And the Nightmare, he progresses in the tournament, and Shawn O'Reilly is eliminated.
And now we'll see Al Perez versus Dick Slater coming up after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
Tag teams, and then you've got your great tag teams. And what you're looking at right now, Stan Lane and Steve Kern is a great tag team. If you don't believe what I'm saying, just walk in any newsstand, anywhere in the country, brother, and pick up a magazine that says wrestling on it and turn the ratings, and you'll see the fabulous ones right there in the top 10. We've been there for the past 4 years. Walk in any major toy store in the world, and you'll see these dolls. See these dolls here? That says the fabulous ones, and they're by Remco, the world's largest toy maker. That's because we're great. You don't get to be great by getting beat. You get to be great by beating people. And Hector Guerrero and your brother Chavo get ready to get beat right there in Houston, right there in your own backyard, because we're not flying down there to get beat, brother. We look good, and we're going to continue to look good. And that means walking all over you and your brother. Get ready, guys. You're going to be biting the dust right there in Houston. The Fabs are coming your way.
South television tournament matchup. One fall or TV time remaining. Introducing first in the red corner at 235 pounds from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Unpredictable, Dick Slater. And Dick Slater is accompanied to the ring by Dark Journey. And introducing in the blue corner at 238 pounds, also from Tampa, Florida, Al Perez. One fall or TV time remaining.
First of all, I couldn't get out what I needed to say about Butch Reed. As far as I'm concerned, Butch Reed reminds me of the scum of the earth. Butch Reed has got no guts in his body, otherwise he would put up that North American heavyweight champion. And I know what I'm going to do with the championship belt when I get it. I'm going to put it right around Journey's waist. As far as I'm concerned, Butch Reed, he'll never be a man like I am. He'll never have what I have. And he will never have a gun in his body to come in and take Dick Slater on for anything other than the North American Heavyweight Championship.
You heard what he...
You tell Reed personally for me.
Why don't you tell him?
He don't have any guts at all.
Why don't
he have any guts?
Why don't you tell him yourself? Why don't you tell him yourself?
I don't need to tell Butch Reed
He's coming
anything.
to the ring right now, so why don't you tell him yourself? You had a message for him, you tell him.
Let me tell you something. You out here flapping your gums out here, Slater. Now, let me tell you what I got to tell you, sucker. And it's this right here. See, I done beat you all over Mid-South. Yeah, you hold that hat you want to. I done beat you in the championship matches. I done beat you in the bounty matches. And you don't have no call for a title match anymore, sucker. All you got, you don't have nothing Butch Reed. Hey, he don't have nothing that Butch Reed wants. You know that? I done already beat you, back jumper. You ain't nothing but a back jumper, and all you got is $50,000 blood money from Ric Flair. And the weight you going now, baby, you ain't gonna have that as much as you getting fined. So, until you come up with something interesting for Butch Reed to wrestle you for, then you just wait till your turn, my man. You understand? Wait a minute. Something just come to my mind. You do have something I want, back jumper. I tell you what. You go see Grizzly Smith and you put her up. How about that?
You want Dark Journey?
No, I don't want her, you understand? I just want to get rid of her. So I tell you what, Slater. Never one in your life put your hands on my lady. I'm going to tell you that right now. But you ain't going to get what you want, I'll guarantee you that. Hey, put your woman where your big flapping mouth is, sucker. Let me tell you this. Now for 30 days on the North American title, I'll wrestle you for the North American title, Slater, for 30 days if I win to have her. Oh, well, if your man wants it, it'll be that way. And I tell you what, it's not that I want her. I just want to get rid of her like I said, so you know what I'm going to do? You know what I want to do? All I want to do is put you back where you belong, girl. You know where that's at? That's back on the street, little mama. You're no good dog, Butch Reed. You'll never put your hands on my lady, I guarantee you. Who the hell does he think he's insulting anyway, Tim Ross? Who do you let you come from?
Well, Bill, we're having confrontations all over the place.
That's certainly true, but Butch Reed, I'll tell you, you see this crowd standing up, they loved it. Butch Reed told him off, told him like it is. He didn't tell him pretty, but he said, you got something I want to get rid of. Oh, I loved it.
Can't be any plainer than he brought it out. Right to the man's face, not behind his back.
Dick Slater better keep his mind on this television title match. He's in the tournament, and he's got Al Perez, who was formerly one half of the Mid-South Tag Team Championship. And Al is a fine young athlete. Actually, I think Al's done a lot better in single matches. He's a great tactician. He's got the fastest belly-to-back souffle I've ever seen. Lots of things happening. Duggan's girl, Deborah, here, and she says she may get involved. Now, Butch Reed, he switched the challenge right around to Dick Slater. He says, if you want a match with me, put something up. Put something up that's worthwhile. And apparently he thinks getting rid of Dark Journey's worthwhile. He was talking something there about having her for 30 days. I guess he meant that if he wins, he gets her for 30 days to do with as he wants. Al Perez, tremendous move. Great move by Al Perez. He's still wearing the gear that he had to wear because he lost that match with Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase. But Al is a man of his word. He's lived up to it.
I was thinking earlier when you said Dick Murdoch's suspension ends December 21. That's the first day of winter. Looks like Mid-South is going to have some hot matches during the cold weather. Fans should really make their plans for this winter.
Wrist lock, that's right, boy. Dick Murdoch. You know, I'm telling you, you can think what you want about him. I've known him a long time. He's double tough. He and DiBiase, that would have been an explosion. And of course, I know Dick DiBiase wants a shot at Flair. DiBiase wants the North American title. Dick Murdoch wants the North American title. Lots of things happening. And of course, right here, Dick Slater in the first rounds of the Mid-South Television Tournament. And I want to add that right immediately, this is the final round here today when this match is over. Grizzly Smith will put all the names that advanced back into the hat. The ones that lost will be kicked out. They'll be redrawn for next week. Good move by Perez. A blocking move as Slater tried to drive his head into that turnbuckle. Perez got a foot up. Perez with a terrific right hand. He staggered Slater. Getting ready to try to measure him for the coup de grace. Slater wisely backed off. There you see Dark Journey at ringside. Ric Flair, what a remark. $5,000 he paid Slater to put his arm around her waist, he said. I wouldn't say that Ric Flair ever exaggerates, would you, Boyd?
No, and I like the way Hacksaw Butch Reed told Dick Slater about the money that he had, or presumably had, or at one time had, and he said he's going to lose it all in fines if he continues. Very well brought out.
Was waving a red flag in front of Dick Slater. He sure got a reaction. Slater said, "You'll never touch my woman." You know, it looks like there's a lot deeper relationship between Dark Journey and Dick Slater than a ballet. We saw that dance she performed that Joel had that video for Dick Slater, and certainly there was a look in her that was very intense for her man. Both men on the floor. Slater rolling back in. Oftentimes they'll try to capitalize on you when you come back in the ring. The guy that has the high ground. Slater, snapmare, what's an elbow? Perez moved out. This tremendous television main event. And coming up, we have Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer and Dr. Death as a team. Hip lock. Head lock into a hip lock maneuver. Perez down in a predicament. Slater bearing down. Dark Journey looking intently on. You know, in Mid-South,